The rain poured down relentlessly as David pulled his jacket tighter against the biting cold wind, pushing a squeaky grocery cart through the puddles. Beside him, his 6-year-old daughter, Emily, clung to his hand, her pink rain boots splashing with innocent delight. David glanced down at her, forcing a smile despite the heavy weight of unpaid bills and the eviction notice stuffed in his pocket. "Daddy, look." Emily suddenly pointed across the street at a sleek black car with its hazard lights flashing. A woman stood beside it, shivering under a flimsy umbrella while holding her phone, frustration and helplessness written all over her face. David hesitated. He was already running late for a job interview, his first in weeks. But then, Emily's tiny voice chimed in, full of concern. "She looks sad. Maybe we can help?" With a sigh, David nodded. "Let's go see, kiddo." They made their way across the street, and David approached the woman. She looked up, relief mixed with apprehension in her eyes. "Flat tire?" he asked. "Yes," she replied, brushing damp hair from her face. "I called roadside assistance, but they're taking forever, and I have an important meeting." David rolled up his sleeves. "No need to wait. I can change it for you." The woman blinked, startled. "Are you sure? It's pouring, and you're here with your daughter?" He cut her off with a reassuring smile. "It's no trouble. I've done this 100 times. As David worked, Emily held the umbrella over him, chatting cheerfully with the woman. "My daddy's really good at fixing things. He always says kindness is free, so we should share it with everyone." The woman chuckled, her tension easing. "You've got a smart kid there." Within 15 minutes, the spare tire was on. Soaked but smiling, David stood up. "You're all set." The woman reached for her wallet, pulling out a crisp $100 bill. "Let me pay you for your trouble." David shook his head. "No need. Just happy to help." She studied him for a moment, taking in his worn-out shoes, his patched jacket, and the small hand gripping his own. "At least let me give you a ride. You're drenched." David hesitated. "We're actually headed to an interview." "Then all the more reason." "Hop in," she insisted. Reluctantly, he agreed. During the ride, the woman introduced herself as Claire Anderson. The name struck a chord. David had heard of her before. She was the CEO of a major tech company. But he kept quiet, focusing instead on calming Emily, who was still buzzing with excitement over their little adventure. When they reached the small office building, Claire asked for his name and phone number. "In case I get another flat tire," she said with a wink. David scribbled his details on a scrap of paper, thanked her again, and rushed inside. He couldn't afford to be late. The twist. 2 weeks passed. David didn't get the job. The eviction notice loomed closer. Sitting at the kitchen table, his head in his hands, he felt utterly defeated. Then his phone buzzed. An unknown number. "Hello, David? It's Claire Anderson. Do you have a moment to talk?" His heart pounded. "Of course. I haven't been able to stop thinking about your kindness that day," Claire said. "I looked into your background and found out you're an experienced mechanic. My company is opening a new branch, and we need someone trustworthy to lead the maintenance team. It's a salaried position with benefits." David could barely breathe. "Are you serious?" "Very. And one more thing." Claire's voice softened. "I've set up a scholarship fund for Emily. When the time comes, she'll have the chance to attend any college she chooses." Tears welled up in David's eyes. He could barely form the words to thank her. The climax. A month later, David stood before his new team, wearing a crisp uniform embroidered with the company logo. From the break room, Emily beamed, happily munching on a snack provided by the company daycare. As he walked to his car after his first successful day, he noticed a small note tucked under the wiper blade. "Kindness is free, but its impact is priceless. Thank you for reminding me of that, Claire." The conclusion. David looked up at the sky, watching as the setting sun finally broke through the clouds. One small act of kindness had changed the course of his life, proving that even the smallest gestures could create the biggest ripples. And in that moment, he knew, no matter how tough life got, leading with a generous heart would always light the way forward.